You just bought a wide open piece of land. No trees, no shade, just you and the sun. So now what? Hey everyone, welcome back to the Land Buyer's Guide. I'm your host, Scott Thomas, owner of landparker.com, where we help people find and finance affordable rural land, sometimes with as little as $100 down. Today we're talking about something really practical, something that comes up a lot when people first get out onto their new property, and that's shade. Specifically, how do you create it when there's nothing there yet? So let's get into it. First thing I want to say is, don't panic. Bare land without trees is actually super common, especially when you're buying affordable rural property. And the lack of shade can feel like a big deal when you're standing out there in July, sweating through your shirt. But it's a very solvable problem. You just need a plan. And that plan really comes in layers. You've got your immediate solutions, your medium-term solutions, and your long-term solutions. Let's walk through all of them. So starting with right now, if you need shade today, like you're out there working, camping, building something, portable structures are your best friend. Shade cloth canopies are probably the most practical option. They're lightweight, they're cheap, and you can set one up with a few poles or T-posts. They come in different densities too, like 30% shade up to 80%, so you can pick how much sun you want to block. Pop-up canopies work great for this too, the kind you'd see at a farmer's market or a job site. Not glamorous, but they get the job done. Shade sails are another option, those triangular or rectangular fabric panels you string between posts. They actually look really cool and they block a solid amount of UV. And honestly, even just a good tarp rigged up between a couple posts and a vehicle or some stakes, that works. It's not pretty, but if you need relief fast, it's hard to beat. These things aren't permanent. They'll wear out, but they keep you functional while you're building towards something better. Now when you're ready to put in something more lasting, that's where it gets fun. A pergola is a great starting point. It's an open roof structure, usually wood or metal, and you can leave it open for filtered light, or cover it with shade cloth or polycarbonate panels. Over time, you can grow climbing plants up and over it, which we'll talk about in a minute. Pavilions with full roofs are even better if you want complete overhead cover. Great for an outdoor kitchen, a workspace, a gathering area. For folks going the homesteading or farming route, a simple pole barn or a run-in shed is worth considering early on. It shades both you and your animals. It stores equipment, and it's one of the more cost-effective permanent structures you can put up on raw land. Here's something a lot of people don't think about right away: earthworks. If you're designing your property from scratch, a strategically placed berm, basically just a raised mound of earth, can block that brutal afternoon sun or cut down on wind hitting your main living or working area. It takes some planning up front, but once it's there, it just sits there doing its job with zero maintenance. Okay, so now let's talk about trees, because trees are really the long game here, and they're worth starting sooner rather than later. The good news is not all trees are slow. Some species grow surprisingly fast. Hybrid poplars, for example, can put on several feet of growth in a single year. That's real canopy coverage within just a few seasons. The empress tree, also called paulownia, is another one. It grows incredibly fast and produces big, broad leaves that create really dense shade. Just worth checking on local guidelines before you plant one, because it can spread aggressively in certain regions. Willows are great if you've got any water on your property, a pond, a low-lying wet area. They love moisture and they grow fast. Silver maple is widely adaptable, grows quickly, and gives you a nice broad canopy. Mulberry is one I especially like for homesteaders. Fast-growing, gives shade, and produces fruit for both people and animals. That's a triple win. And honey locust is worth mentioning for anyone running livestock. It's drought tolerant, grows quickly, and provides what they call dappled shade, meaning it's not totally dense underneath. So you still get sunlight reaching the grass, which matters for grazing. When you're picking trees, think about your climate zone, how much rain you get, and what your soil is like. Native species or species well adapted to your region are generally going to do better with less babying from you. A few things that help young trees get established: water them deeply but not constantly. You want those roots going down, not staying shallow. Put mulch around the base to hold moisture and keep grass from competing with them. And if you've got deer or livestock around, Protect those young saplings with tree tubes or simple fencing until they're big enough to survive some nibbling. Planting in rows or groupings also helps. You get a windbreak effect, and visually, it makes a bigger impact faster than a single tree here and there. Now, trees aren't the only plant option. Shrubs and hedgerows can actually create meaningful shade and wind protection faster than trees in a lot of cases. Elderberry is one of my favorites to recommend. It grows fast, handles poor soil well, and it's edible on top of that. Arrowwood viburnum is native to a big chunk of North America. It grows dense and tall, and wildlife loves it. Clumping bamboo can basically create a living wall pretty quickly. Just make sure you're planting clumping varieties, not running varieties, or it'll take over your whole property. The thing is, shrubs and hedgerows work really well for blocking that low-angle sun, the kind you get in the morning or late afternoon, and for creating those sheltered little microclimates on your property. Now here's where it all comes together. The most effective approach is combining built structures and plants. So think about something like a pergola with climbing vines growing over it. Grapes, wisteria, hops, they fill in over a season or two, and you end up with this gorgeous, cool, shaded outdoor space that just gets better every year. Or you plant a row of fast-growing trees on the west side of your main structure to knock out that hot afternoon sun. And while you're waiting for them to mature, a shade sail handles the overhead coverage. You're not waiting on a single solution. You've got something working right away, and your landscape is improving in the background the whole time. And hey, if you've got animals, this matters for them too. Livestock without shade in hot weather can get into real trouble. A simple loafing shed, a row of trees along a fence line, even shade cloth stretched over part of a corral, it makes a genuine difference for their health and comfort. One last thing before I wrap up. Before you put in permanent structures or start planting rows of trees, spend a little time just watching how the sun moves across your land. Where does the afternoon sun hit hardest? Where does the wind come from? Where are you going to be spending the most time? In the northern hemisphere, the south and west sides of your property get the most sun exposure. Structures and trees on the west side are especially effective at blocking that late afternoon heat. And if you're growing food, you'll want to balance shade with enough sunlight for your crops to actually produce. A little observation early on can save you from placing something in the wrong spot and having to redo it later. All right, so here's the big takeaway from today. Treeless land is not a problem. It's a blank canvas. You start with what you need right now, a canopy, a shade sail, a simple shelter. Then you layer in trees, shrubs, and permanent structures over time. Every season your land gets more livable, more functional, and honestly more beautiful. And if you're still in the land buying stage and you're looking at a property that doesn't have any trees, don't let that stop you. That's totally normal with affordable rural land, and now you've got a real roadmap for how to handle it. If you want to check out available properties, visit us at landparker.com. We've got rural vacant land listings across the country, many with owner financing, sometimes as little as $100 down and $100 a month. Take a look, find something you love, and start building the place you've been imagining. Thanks for tuning in to the Land Buyer's Guide. I'm Scott Thomas. We'll see you on the next one.